In this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about standards and some of the terminology and how standards fit with objectives and other pieces of lessons that we're building. We're going to be using standards from the Kearney Public Schools because they have them all in one place and they're easy to work with, plus a lot of our materials are used by our Kearney Public collaborating teachers. So if we go to the Kearney Public website on standards, you'll notice that the standards for the various areas are listed. Say, for example, I wanted to do something in language arts. I will click the language arts link, and then I'll hit the language arts curriculum link, and it'll take a second to open. Then once we get to the page, we'll see that the language arts standards are listed in chronological order from kindergarten through 12th grade. If you'll notice in the upper left hand side of the page, there's a kind of a key. LA stands for language arts, PK stands for pre-kindergarten, and this is standard number 1. Then the standards are listed below that. As we scroll down the page, we'll see that there are standards for everything from, here's one for 3rd grade, and we'll go clear up through 12th grade. So let's say we wanted to find a standard for 4th grade. We would scroll down to 4th grade, and here we find language arts 4th grade standard number 1. The actual language of the standard is listed right here under the heading. The standards are basically the curriculum that our school districts decide that they want their students to cover. They're broad. There are not enough specifics in the standards that you could actually teach a lesson, but it gives us a starting place. So this standard says students will utilize a variety of comprehension skills and apply them when reading specific 4th grade text selections. Skills include predicting, questioning, sequencing, identifying main idea and supporting details, comparing and contrasting, summarizing, and making inferences. Now you can see that's a very broad standard, and actually the skills of predicting, questioning, sequencing, identifying main ideas, etc. might be a lesson in themselves. So standards are also broken down. Right below the standard we'll see a bulleted list, and these are what we call indicators. These are indicators that the standard has been met. So these are a little bit more specific. So we can see in order to meet this language standard, students will be able to do things like relate background experience to current topics, make predictions before, during, and after reading, formulate questions relating to the text, arrange events in sequential order, etc. We will choose a standard and one or more of the indicators when we build our lessons. Now, how are these tied to objectives? Well, the objective is even more specific. As we learn to write objectives, we learn to write objectives first for that reason. As we learn to write objectives, we learn that we want those to be very specific and include those 4 A, B, C, D parts that we learned about. So as you build your lesson, you start with a standard, and then you pick the indicator that you want to work on, and then you write objectives, and there may be several objectives that we need to have for each one of the indicators. A particular lesson will always have a standard and at least one indicator, and then usually more than one objective. The other parts of our lesson materials that we'll put together then are the content that the students need to know in order to meet the objective, and then the activities that they'll do that in order for them to be able to meet the objective, which allows them to meet the standard that we are wanting to work on. So that's a little explanation of how standards fit together with objectives and content and activities.